there are speed runners, and their answers tend to be pretty brief, and sometimes they get kind of frustrated that the AI will push on a brief answer. And then there are people that really, as you called it, a conversation. I think most people think of it that way, and it's a really important difference because there are a bunch of retirement tools out there that are checkbox surveys. Some with upwards of 50 questions. They're not necessarily short, but you can't. What's fascinating about this is it's a conversation, but it's a conversation with technology, which means it scales massively. And it's recursive. So I've built it in such a way that what it learns, it pumps back in so that it's getting smarter about the cohort all the time. It can start to identify patterns. It sees emotional triggers like, do you have enough free time? On a checkbox, yes, no, maybe. In this in TRS, we'll often get, well, I'm dealing with a mother with dementia.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, okay. And that data, that emotional signal, the emotional signal in the data allows us to tune everything from there on. So some people will spend a lot of time and share a lot of information in an effort to get a better assessment, just to get better advice, right? Because the assessment is free, but it's a snapshot point in time. How am I doing? Like for me,
Right.
I was doing pretty good on most things. And I was really weak on people, on social architecture. I live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I moved here 10 years ago. I Everybody I knew and grew up with and went to school with and worked with, and my entire family's on the East Coast. So I effectively severed my social architecture to live in a really cool place. And I have work to do to rebuild some of that, replace some of that here locally. And I wanted to share the tool because I found the advice it was giving me really useful. And I just thought, gosh, it would be an opportunity in retirement for me to contribute something to the world that helped people, which is, as I learned from taking the retirement strategy, a huge part of my purpose. I used to love to teach, or I do love to teach. I used to do some because I really like, if I know something or have figured out something or can help somebody else see something, an insight that they feel really changes things for them, that's deeply gratifying to me. And so this has been a gift in that regard, but it's really more around all of that sort of stuff.
I go in and, I find out that there's this really cool blood test that isn't just the normal blood panel. It's going to tell me all sorts of different things about my current state of health. Okay, that's fine. That's awesome. And it's free. Great. Now what? Because now I have a snapshot. My snapshot from TRS hooked me because it's like, okay, this is something that I need to be thinking about, monitoring and executing upon, much like the idea of taking care of one's health. So what are you doing? What are you doing around the kind of next step? Because it started out as an interesting thing that you shared, kind of informally, but what's next for this whole thing?
That was the biggest single piece of feedback and the biggest single question. It was, this is cool. Now what? And I had already done the now what for me, and I just hadn't built it into the tool because it turned out to be a lot more complex. But just released it on Tuesday of this week, a couple days ago. It all is available through the same surface, the same web URL, but it's really, the first bit is assess, and the second bit is plan. Right? It's now that I know where I'm at, and I've got a lot of ideas about things I could do to improve my score, i.e., raise my level of readiness or my level of happiness. Getting that actually worked into a busy schedule and laying it out over time and understanding what goes before what, and dependencies, and all the minutia of planning is now the second half of the app, the second half of the tool. And so there's TRS assessment and then there's TRS plan. The plan part is really about an AI assisted building off of the assessment layout of steps, experiments, tasks,